Welcome back to the Anthem podcast, where nothing has changed. This is Cory, and this is the Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Take two for real this time.
If you're wondering why I'm smoking, well, first of all, thank you for watching the video.
And clearly, you're not following Rob on Periscope, which you should be at Robert and Cheek on Periscope.
Or at some point when my phone decides to work properly, shared via the Anthem.
Right,
but
yes.
So what we just had happen while Cory tries to open a door from a distance
To give you an inside view of the podcast
is every once in a while, from time to time, we record two shows. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we do it because Rob will be out of town or Cory will be out of town. We want to make sure that we have a new episode for you every single week because we're dedicated.
Which we have 90 weeks in a row.
No, this is 92.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I misnumbered that.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, 92? What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we basically did 91 and a half, and then had to do it again because Cory Dum Dum right here did not hit record on the audio recorder.
But because we're so dedicated, here we are, doing it again for
you.
you.
We could have just said fucking and played just release the Spotlight special again.
Put a repeat on. Well, we're not in syndication yet. We can't do that yet.
You just got to get to 100.
God, we're almost there.
All that
Jesus
fat
Christ.
podcast money.
Anyway, so this is welcome everybody to the final episode of the Anthem podcast.
Wait, what?
Unfortunately, after I win the $900 million Powerball tonight, I will be moving to California with my new friends. But yeah, so for those of you listening on Tuesday, you clearly already know I have won the Powerball, and I will actually it'll be a mysterious winner from Baltimore who has not yet announced themselves.
Yeah,
because I will instantly go and spend money I don't yet have traveling to somewhere, quitting my job and moving out.
I wonder, how many calls do you think the winner of the Powerball gets the first week after they won?
Oh, family members you never heard of and all that.
Not even that, just like people who are like, listen, I got a really good idea for a ditch digging endeavor. I just need $10 million to make it happen. Come on, you can spare it.
You got more than that.
You got $900 million.
And by the way, there would be a lot of strip clubs involved with $900 million.
Just buy a strip club.
Oh, God, you could buy a strip club.
Just call it Rob's and it's only for Rob.
No, because I would want to make money. That would be the thing. I'd just be like, we pay minimum wage, or we pay an hourly wage. Forget you're working your tips. You come in here, but then I get the most beautiful girls in the city. Okay, maybe we'll fly in some girls from other places, but I've been in strip clubs in this city. It's not worth it.
Well, I guess if you paid enough, you could probably up the ante on it a bit. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I mean, you still get the tips, but
sometimes I imagine there's a lot of women that I've seen out there with questionable morals who always say things to me like I can never be a stripper. But if you said to them like, listen, if you really work at it and don't spend it all on drugs, you could make high 5, low 6 figures.
Yeah,
doing it
or more.
Yeah, easily within that range though.
Well,
and then if they start thinking about like, wow, I can make $92,000 in a year just by stripping. Yeah, and most of that's cash, and I don't have to report it.
Mm-mm. But the girls who make that treat it like a job. It's in the gym every morning. It's watching what you eat. It's not drinking. It's not doing drugs. It's people who treat it like I have 10 years to make as much money as possible, and then I age out of this thing. Yeah. So I'm going to make as much as I can, and I'm not buying a Jag, I'm buying a Honda, and I'm not buying a mansion, I'm renting, and all of those things, and then never work for the rest of your life. Unfortunately, I don't know any strippers who live that. It's a lot of cocaine and a lot of alcohol and a lot of bad decisions. That's basically what I know. So. Oh, God. It's good to be a woman. Because neither of us could ever do that.
No.
This is
I'm like Chris Farley in the Chippendale sketch. I'm not...
We got to create something to make that money. It's not just born with it.
Yeah.
God, it's lucky. Good to be a girl. God, you guys.
Seriously,
though. Man, now I'm just dreaming about Rob. You go ahead and finish. I'm going to think about Rob's in the strip club that I would design. Oh.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. If you are not subscribed to the podcast on any one of our number of podcast areas, do that because we like subscribers.
Of course, yeah. And we've seen an uptick in the last couple of weeks. So.
It's been going up. Steady up.
Welcome to the
We're
new
up
listeners.
from 12 to 13. So
Woo!
Thank you so much, number 13.
Yeah, that's like
the prior 12. Go fuck yourselves.
That's like a 10% increase. 8% increase.
It's something. It's a number.
It's
increase.
It's an increase of a number.
If you're not doing it on iTunes, Stitcher, Dogcatcher, any RSS feed you like. Also subscribe on YouTube. Like on Facebook, follow on Twitter, Mobby-nominated Twitter, Mobby-nominated Instagram. Yeah.
YouTube. Make sure you follow YouTube.
Subscribe on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Like on the video. Leave a comment on anywhere you can leave a comment. Say,
absolutely.
Corey's funny, Rob's he's all right.
Sure.
Unless Rob wins the lottery, and then I think it's going to be a lot of Rob love on the comments.
It's always a lot of Rob.
Yeah, well, I guess since we brought up stupid people, we can start with making a murderer.
God, gotta look at that. Picking it up. Anyway, go ahead, yeah.
Thank you, Daddy.
I saw that. Oh, wait, we don't have a producer. Never mind. Okay. I'm gonna ISO that on the recording tomorrow.
Just have it play every so often.
We did record that, didn't we? Okay, yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're on. We're on this time.
But so, of course, we're talking about Stephen Avery, Brendan Dassey, making a murderer.
Yeah. So,
well, wait, before you get in there, let's say it's been 7 weeks since it's come out. Everything I've seen online has been Making a Murderer. We're going to give you a spoiler alert here. If you haven't watched Making a Murderer, or if you're not done Making a Murderer, go over to this lovely sidebar on Corey's other side. Click down to the next topic, because we're probably going to be giving away some stuff if you don't want to see it. So, anyway,
or if you're listening on the audio,
yeah,
just skip ahead every 5 minutes or so.
And to see
until you hear something that's not Making a Murderer.
Yeah, if you listen for a few seconds, you hear me say objection. We're still talking about Making a Murderer, so keep on clicking forward.
Just keep clicking forward. Here's where I am. I think, based off of the point that we should be taking trials as proved beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes.
Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey should both have been found not guilty.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm entirely sure that neither one of... Well, I'm more sure that Brendan Dassey didn't. Yeah. But I don't entirely believe that Stephen Avery didn't have anything to do with Teresa Halbach's murder. And
this is the important distinction I've been giving people. It's that there's a difference between not guilty and innocent. And when I fully say he's not guilty, that doesn't mean I don't think he did it. It means that I think the state didn't meet their burden of beyond a reasonable doubt.
Right.
And if they don't do that, you're not supposed to go to jail. That's really all that it means. Now, whether or not he's guilty, I think we can agree that the way the state said that it happened would not have happened. Mm-hmm. So for that part of it, no. He did not commit the murder the way that they laid out the timeline.
I don't think the state really did a great job of proving anything, to be honest with you. I mean, it was a lot of...
Well, they proved that Kratz likes Krispy Kreme donuts, that's for sure. And apparently
Your Honor.
He likes sexting sex crimes victims, apparently.
To be honest, did you read the transcripts of what he was sending to those girls?
No, man.
It's totally you. It's totally you.
I'm gonna have to read it now.
I'm all for us every once in a while getting caught up in a case and talking about it.
Right.
And I'm all fine with us getting caught up in a juicy trial, because I think it can be very interesting, especially in something as salaciously done as Making a Murderer was. It's very, very easy to get caught up in a marathon of it and just watch every single episode back to back to back.
Binge the whole thing.
I didn't have the ability to binge the whole thing, but I found any single time I had 20 minutes, I was just like, all right. I need my fix. What we should probably really be having a conversation about is the awful state of this nation's criminal justice system, and how anybody at it was a throwaway line they used like 3 or 4 times, basically to advance the narrative.
Right.
Where they said, imagine you're just sitting in your house and the police break down the door and they accuse you of murder. How does your life all of a sudden change?
Right.
Like, you didn't do it, and now you have to defend yourself. You have to get a lawyer. You have to... And this isn't... You don't take a public defender to a murder charge. Like,
well, Brendan Dassey did.
Well, yeah, but...
And that guy did a good job. For what it's worth.
The second one?
The second guy did a good job. The problem was...
There were times where he proved to be a public defender, though.
Yes. Yes, he did.
I would have set myself on fire rather than let Brendan Dassey continue testifying on the stand when he was up there.
Yeah. The point of it was, look how fucked up the system is. I think that was the overarching message. It's not about Avery. It's not about Dassey. This is the system that we are dealing with. And that's what they wanted to show, and they showed it really well. Our system is built about making deals. Most of my job on criminal cases is not about proving innocence. It's not about showing that you're not guilty. It's getting you the best deal possible, because when the cop comes in there and lies, and I know he's lying, and you know he's lying, and the state knows he's lying, the judge doesn't know, and he's taking everything that cop says as truth. And there's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah.
When the 2 witnesses are the defendant, who has a big motivation to lie, and the cop, who has seemingly no motivation to lie, his story rules. So you got to make deals. So I get that Len was going into that thinking about making a deal, but you don't do that until you have the deal. When you have the deal, then you can start working on witnesses.
Well, not only that, but there's, at least from my mind, as a strategic option, there's no reason why you shouldn't paint him as he's not going to be helpful from the go.
Well, because you also don't want to have that opposite. I mean, the first thing Len said on the news was about him being, controlled, and yes, he did it, and he's controlled by his uncle or whatever. Why the fuck would you say that? And some of those videos early in the series, I'm looking at him talking to the state, I'm looking at O'Kelly talking to the state, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
What the fuck is this? And that was set up for the big reveal later.
Right.
But I was like, I don't do this. Now, I mean, like, I'm very friendly with the state, and we talk, but whenever I do that, it's very public.
Yeah.
I never go into the corner to sit and talk with them.
Yeah.
Because it just looks bad. You don't do that.
Right.
And it was bad. But I think we would be remiss if we didn't point out that this is a documentary, but it has a point of view. It's entertainment. Mm-hmm. The point of view is the system is broken, but it's also that...
Well, documentaries just in general have been overwhelmingly... You almost never get a non-biased documentary.
Right. Yeah. But,
I mean, like people, the right will say this about Michael Moore every single time he releases a film. He's only out there to try and kick dirt on the Republican Party or conservative values or blah, 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 blah.
Which is true.
Yeah, I mean, he does, but, the best way of releasing a biased documentary is having enough information out there that can dissuade the counter argument.
Right.
Like, so Kratz comes out after, in the last couple weeks, talking about, like, well, what about all the pieces of evidence they didn't even talk about in the documentary? Right.
And again, I'm not saying he didn't do it. All I'm saying is they didn't prove it, and the way that they said it happened couldn't be how it happened. That's it.
Yeah.
And if anybody follows my lawyer page on Facebook, I actually reposted an interesting alternate theory, which is these 2 family members, one of which is the brother of the girl who he held at gunpoint, both went hunting separately and alone, and that this fan theory is that they killed Teresa because they had seen her around the Avery property. They knew who she was. She was a beautiful young woman. These guys are not the biggest winners in the world, and so things get out of control. They kill her. They put the vehicle on the Avery property to hide it because it's not out of place there, and then they go burn the body elsewhere. And then when they realize that she's missing and people are looking for her, they move those burned remains to the Avery burn pit. And what we have basically is 2 conspiracies that weren't working together, but which then culminated in a looking guilty for Stephen. And that's just as plausible as any other explanation I've heard.
Yeah.
And the message of the documentary and the thing I think we should keep in mind is the police fucked this shit up so much we will never know what happened to her.
Well, and it's I think overall the defense for Avery was top notch.
Well, he paid out the ass for him.
Well, I know, but they're very good. They're very good at their jobs. Looking back on it, and obviously you gotta play it as you see it when it's happening. I think they could have done more, not necessarily saying that the cops framed Stephen Avery.
Right.
But the cops had so much inappropriate things going on during the course of this trial that it opens up the reasonable doubt.
Right.
By the way, just real quick,
yeah,
because I just thought I should go into this more specifically. The Ken Kratz sexting thing.
Yeah. Oh, God. Here we go.
I know this is wrong. I'm such an honest guy and straight shooter, but I have to know more about you, Kratz texted. Are you the kind of girl that likes secret contact with an older married elected DA? The riskier the better. Question mark for some reason.
Right. Oh, no, that was the riskier the better?
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah. I'm the Addy. I have the $350,000 house. I have the 6-figure career. You may be the tall, young, hot nymph, but I am the prize.
I could see myself saying that.
Yeah, that seems...
When I actually have the house and the car and all that stuff.
That seems kind of Rob-like.
Anything to get those young nymphs.
Oh, the Anthem, broken up by sexting scandal.
But no, so...
then I'm just like...
Yeah.
What did he say?
Unless you've been living under a rock. Although, I will say, for about the first 4 days, media blackout.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah.
But,
it's funny how quiet the politicians were about it, too.
Yeah, weird about that.
The Republican Party in particular.
Well, so a young man named Eamon Bundy, who you may know from last year's Bundy Ranch incident.
Wait, Bunny Ranch?
Bundy
No.
Ranch.
That was like the Lamar Odom thing? He's involved in that?
He and 150 of his friends, which turns out to be probably more like 25 of his friends, on New Year's Day, when it's empty, occupy a Bureau of Land Management /
If you want to see a video of these people, by the way,
yeah,
all you have to do is go to YouTube, type in South Park, they took our jibs, and those guys are the same people who've taken over.
That's not fair.
Basically, a rec center.
That's not fair. It's not a rec center.
They took our jibs.
It's a facility owned by Fish and Wildlife or Bureau of Land Management or somebody. But yes,
yeah.
So,
okay. So 2 points. Number one, I'm tired of stupid people with stupid arguments or lack of direction trying to run these things.
Okay.
Oregon Militia is just as bad off to me as Occupy Wall Street on completely different ends of the spectrum because they do not have a clear and concise ability to explain what they want.
Okay, I'll agree.
To the general public.
Yeah.
Second off, it's just rampant hypocrisy. So, listen. I constantly am saying I'm sick of the government.
Right.
And I can say it for any number of reasons. And at the end of the day, all I do is pay taxes and use almost none of the services that are provided to me.
Except for the police and the fire and the roads and the schools.
Well, I'm not using them anymore.
Right.
Lest I want to be Steve Avery'd.
Right, yeah.
It's like Trump saying he's standing up for the middle class. These people are Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
But
you're judging them because they're not eloquent enough to put forward a concise argument about why they're doing it. And I don't think they're heroes because they're doing something, and we have so little of that.
I don't think they know what they're doing.
And maybe why does that matter to you?
I think if we threw an iPod through the window of the wildlife refuge that they're staying at,
yeah,
and told that just put a note on there listen to Rob speak at minute 49 or whatever,
right?
And they listen to it and they go hey, this guy's got some pretty good ideas. We should go up some of these. I don't think they understand half of what they're saying.
No, you know what they would do when they heard me at 48 minutes? they would call the listener line that we're going to give at the end of the episode, and they'd be like, hey...
443-219-7595.
Oh, we'll give it right now. And they'd be like, hey, why don't you come out here? Why don't you come join us? Because what the truth of the matter is that everything that I've said here and on the blog and on the 5 Minutes of Freedom and everything that I ever do is all this. It's all the same concept. They're justifying everything I've said about how guns are there to keep you from being killed or otherwise oppressed by the government. Because if that was a bunch of hippies out there with no guns, they would have been beaten and dragged out. The guns are keeping them safe. It's all about parity. And I'll tell you, it's the same goddamn thing that's working. Why does North Korea explode nuclear weapons? Why did they, I'm doing air quotes for those listening, have a hydrogen bomb now?
Because America has one.
Right. Because it's all about creating
more than
parity.
one, but you know.
Well, a lot.
Yeah.
But it's about creating parity. And when the government, you need to have equal, and that's what the founders wanted. The founders wanted the people to be able to have parity with the forces of the government.
Yeah.
And this group has it. And look what happens. Instead of being beaten and dragged out, like Occupy, like Black Lives Matter, like any number of the protests in between, all the protests in Oakland that were happening before Black Lives Matter really got started, all of that stuff. All beaten, tased, pepper sprayed, dragged away, arrested or detained illegally. Are you seeing that happen in Oregon? No, because they have guns. Because that's what the guns are for. Go.
Baltimore Corner. I
yeah.
get the straight dope.
Yeah.
I don't remember when the new issue comes out, so you might not have a lot of time to go out and pick this up.
I think it's Wednesday, so if you're listening to this on the day of, you should probably go.
Go to the box if you haven't gone already.
Yeah.
Or try and, maybe they'll have them at the City Paper offices or something like that, or the Sun. The City Paper released an issue with just the title 344 in black ink on a black background. It's like a slight grayscale type of thing.
Right, yeah.
And in it were no articles. All it was 344 stories about every single murder that happened in the city in the last year. And it's not, like long stories. They're all like a paragraph long, just sort of
police blotter style.
Yeah. But 344 murders took up the entire issue. If you get the chance, you don't have to read each one because it'll just depress you horribly. Mm-hmm. But look through it. The youngest victim was 7 months old.
Yeah.
The oldest was 77 or something like that. And I'll put a link in the show notes to this image from the Baltimore Sun, the infographic we sort of talked about.
Yeah.
That broke down advanced numbers in this regard. But seriously, we argue about little petty shit, but sometimes it takes just an issue of the paper that has nothing but a list of everybody who died.
Murdered. Yeah.
Everybody who was murdered in the city in the last year to really make you think about, like, it becomes so blasé at a point when you hear like 7 people died overnight. You're just like, oh wow,
it's a lot.
But then you read it and you're just like 14-year-old girl coming home from school,
like
whatever it may be, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, put yourself in that spot,
That's
if but by the grace of God go I.
344 families
could have been 344 brothers and mothers and dads and sisters and
the thing is, it's what we've been talking about the entire time today. So our society has a cancer growing inside of it, and we've got to do something to change that.
Yeah.
And I have my way, other people have other ways, but something's got to happen because this murder rate, people say it's a gun problem. It's not just a gun problem. It's also a poverty problem. It's a crime problem. It's a government that's not responsive. It's a mayor's office that doesn't seem to care that much, and a police department that's worried about other things. There's a lot of problems, and there's no easy fix. And when it comes down to it, after all of that political nonsense, it's 344 names, 344 families who aren't there. They aren't going to be the same way this year that they were last year. This time last year, their family was different, and their lives were different than they are right now. And kudos to City Paper.
Yeah, I really thought it was a really spectacular thing to do. So, yeah, go pick it up. And I'll link to it in the show notes. I'm sure it's up on there.
And where can somebody find the show notes?
You can go to ohtheanthem.com, Cory to ohtheanthem.com, ohtheanthem on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Instagram, and the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's the number again?
443-219-7595.
And you can find me on all your social networks at Robert N. Cheek. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com. You can find links there to my blog and to everything else, including the links to the books.
Anyway, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the Oh the Anthem podcast, part of the Oh the Anthem digital network. For Cory, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
They took your games.
Jesus Christ.